Alright lads, welcome back to another Stogie Lads cigar review-ish, but it's a kind of a different episode this time. We have something very special here. It is the whiskey for cigars, the Dalmore Cigar Malt.
What a beauty.
This was actually, how was this cigar in our possession, lad? Or this whiskey, how is it in our possession?
I should say your possession.
Yeah,
since it was a gift from a friend, Hannes, and myself for your birthday.
Yeah.
We found this. Yeah, felt like it could be a worthwhile investment into your Scotch collection.
Yeah,
collection. So
I've taken a tiny bit. I've had like 2 half drams of it because I was so excited to try it out. This is a very expensive, nice bottle of whiskey. Dalmore released this a few years ago as a limited edition. Then they discontinued it for a few years, and then I think due to popular demand, it was just very popular in the whiskey community outside of cigar smokers even. So they did bring it back, and now they have it as a regular release sort of whiskey in their lineup. So this is the Dalmore Cigar Malt Reserve. Basically this is a kind of a fruity whiskey. This is actually down my alley normally anyway. American White Oak, classic, so like the bourbon style barrels, Matusalem Oloroso cask, so that's sherry, sherry casks, and Cabernet Sauvignon Barrique, so red wine. So it's very fruity. It doesn't have an age statement, but this, assuming for the price and all that stuff, it's a very old whiskey. They just don't write any age statement on it, and it is 44% on this one. So what we thought we're gonna do here is we're gonna have a little dram of this, try it first, and then have it with a cigar. And what cigar is this, lad, and why did we choose this?
yes, because we chose the Partagas Serie D No. 5, and the reason for that being is because, well, on their webpage, they do recommend to have this cigar with a bit of a fuller-bodied cigar, heavier cigar. So they actually recommended this exact one. So that is why it was included in your little birthday kit as well.
Oh yeah, you gave me one of these too. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and now I obviously have one as well.
So a healthy dram here of this Dalmore Cigar Malt. It is an absolutely beautiful. That's probably pretty distracting. I just wanted to show the box off. We can have the bottle here. It looks pretty nice.
Yeah, sure.
Let's just try the whiskey out first. This isn't my first tasting. Like I said, I have tried it twice and I absolutely loved it. It was rich, a little bit of spice and lots of fruit, a little bit of chocolate and stuff. It was beautiful. So let's have a little dram, lad. Thank you so much for this bottle.
Thank you for sharing it with me.
God, I love it so much. It's velvety, it's got a little dark chocolate, a little raisin, a little spice. It's fruity. It's really nice. This is something that I adore. Goddamn.
That is awesome to hear. Yeah, obviously you're the bigger whiskey drinker of the two of us, but we have had some during this week. Or we've been here.
Yeah,
we've had some different whiskeys. So
we had a Glenfiddich 15 last night.
I am a bit warmed up still. And
you like it?
Yeah, I do. I like it a lot.
That's all that matters. Let's light up the cigars now. So now we've had a couple of we're gonna have some more sips, and we'll get our palates a little more warmed up with this, and then we're gonna light up the cigars, have that together, and then we're gonna compare, how is this alone, how's a cigar alone. So we're gonna take a few sips, then we're gonna just do a little bit of the cigar by itself, and then together, and see what was better, what was worse, and do a real pairing, highlighting video here. So we'll get back to you guys when we've lit up a bit of this and had a few puffs. We'll be back soon.
So we just lit up the Serie D No. 5, and I love Partagas, and this is the first time having a Serie D for me, actually.
Really?
I think so.
You haven't had a D4 at some point?
I don't think I have, actually. To be honest,
we're gonna have to go look through the archive lab. I have a sneaky feeling you have at some point, but we'll see.
Oh yeah,
like
we'll
3-4 years ago.
Okay. Anyways, really liking this cigar. Right off the bat, there was this saltiness, the savory, exactly, Cuban twang, a little bit of pepper, and really liking this cigar right now. We haven't had it together with the whiskey yet.
We're saving that. So we've had the whiskey now. We described that a little bit initially. That was beautiful. We've had the cigar now, and like Ruben said, so much Cuban twang. It's salty, it's earthy, there's a little dark chocolate. It's pretty rich and creamy, a little tiny bit nutty as well, but this is a good cigar. We have perfect burns as well, very uncharacteristically for a Cuban, but the time has come, I think, for us to have a little puff, swirl the whiskey around, have a nose and a sip, and see how do these pair together, because they're meant to be beautiful. So let's try it.
Do it.
The cigar brought down the fruitiness of the whiskey immediately for me. It brought forward a little bit of the spice, a little bit of a zesty tang. I don't know how to describe it. I think on the box they write about like orange zest. Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, my whiskey palate isn't that evolved, obviously. But I think it brought down the fruitiness a lot. The contrast that I love in these, though, is that this whiskey has an extremely thick, viscous feeling. It has a very heavy palate compared to any whiskey. We had the Glenfiddich 15 yesterday. That was very thin, like very, very thin compared to this. This has like a thick, syrupy almost feeling on the palate, which is a nice contrast to the cigar. When you've had a puff of the cigar with a pepper and spice, it's nice. What do you think, Claude?
Yeah. So after taking this sip of whiskey and then having a smoke after, with that richness, like you're saying, the syrupy, kind of like the smoke sticks inside the mouth when taking a drag, and then what I felt really was the cinnamon kind of on the exhale.
Okay. On the whiskey.
Yeah, or on like
I wasn't sure if you're talking about the cigar.
No, but just like, yeah, exactly, from the whiskey and the palate.
The cigar is more earthy. It's a little less sweet. The whiskey's a little less sweet. I think it's a little more dark chocolate on it. A little more bitterness comes out on the whiskey. This is a nice pairing. Oh, a lot of dark chocolate on the end palate on this whiskey. Wow. Bitter dark chocolate. It's not as fruity at all. It's crazy how it shifts. You don't get that fruitiness at all. Let's go back to the cigar. Cigars died down. Oh, I'm gonna say it immediately, Lod. I just find that both things are better by themselves. I just do. Both things.
That's valid.
Both parts get less flavor. I just don't know what it is. The whiskey is less complex on the palate when I'm having the cigar. I mean, if we're only in the first third, this might shift, whatever, but these are just my initial thoughts. The whiskey is less complex, it's less fruity. It's more just a one note where it's malt and dark chocolate-ish is what I'm getting. And the cigar is just kind of earthy, and I'm getting less of the pepper spice on this because I think my palate is just so adjusted to the whiskey.
Yeah, probably.
So this is like mellowed out a little bit, and I'm just getting like a kind of a smooth, creamy earthiness. And both sides are just tamed a little bit, and I've talked about this before where I feel like both of these are like at 80% right now, where they were both at 100% before. I don't know, do you share my opinion at all? Or do you like this pairing? I mean, I do really like the pairing.
Yeah.
For whiskey and cigars.
Because that's what I was going to comment, is that like, I guess in a lot of cases, that's the way it is. That like the cigar and the whiskey, obviously they'll perform differently, but you'll probably get the most flavor out of them in their own sense.
Yeah.
But having it I think having this with any pairing would be the best with the whiskey. Right?
Yeah.
But I do share your opinion that the flavors are mellowed.
I get a lot more of the malt funk here. There's like a signature funky malt flavor in Speyside whiskeys, and there's sometimes brought out more than other times. And when I have the cigar with this, it's a lot more. It's a lot more of just malt and dark chocolate, which is a shame. It's not fruity at all, which I think it's crazy. When I had the first few sips, it was fruity. This whiskey is not fruity at all anymore, right? Or am I don't know if that's just me, but for me this whiskey is not fruity at all, and that's surprising because it's red wine, it's sherry, and it's gone.
Yeah, that's true.
Interesting, very interesting. I think what we'll do here is we're gonna enjoy the rest of this. We will come back at the end of the cigar. We'll have a little more of the whiskey and finish the cigars, and then we'll see if anything has changed. But I think we presented a lot of our opinions right now. I wonder how much is going to change. Perhaps at the end, when the cigar is even more dark, it can stand up to it more. But right now, both were better alone.
Yeah, I just have to say before you come, just like smelling it and stuff, you can really still sense that, like the fruitiness.
Yeah, the smell is still there, but I think that's because your mouth, your palate isn't altered.
Yeah, exactly. So then when you really realize that, like, the difference in adding the cigar and not.
Very good point, Lod. Very good point. It's very fruity still on the nose. That's a shame because I miss this flavor now. We'll get back to you guys in the end and give your final verdict on this cigar malt. Is it the ultimate cigar whiskey?
Just finishing off this Partagas now, and we just poured up this whiskey now. Actually, we have enjoyed the cigar by itself for a while now.
We had a few more sips, but then we just
exactly
let it go.
But the cigar in itself, the saltiness that we talked about in the beginning, that savoriness, calmed down quite a bit, and just now in the end, I think some rich creaminess and very nice finish.
Yeah, it's nice. A lot more cocoa. It's just like that chocolatey. I call it like chocolate powder, but that's not even a real thing. I think this PSD 5 is extremely similar to the Partagas Serie D No. 4. I believe I did a YouTube review on it. I cannot remember now.
You did.
Okay. Thank you a lot. Very clutch. So I guess you can, a lot of the flavor notes are very, this just reminds me, there's the mouthfeel of this cigar that's identical to the PSD 4. It's like this, it almost is powdery. I don't know what it is, and that's why I call it cocoa powder, because it's like this chocolate, but it's not bitter dark cocoa powder like cocoa powder literally is. It's like a chocolate powder, which I don't really know. I guess it's not a real thing. Partagas should start making that in their like second backdoor factory or something. But it's good. It's nice. Chocolate is always nice in cigars. Earth, a little bit of like fruitiness on the finish. I feel like almost like a little floral, but it's still pretty dark. This cigar is like one of the darker Cuban cigars around, even though it's not even close to like something like the Epicario Pledge that we'll have reviewed already. This is dark for a Cuban, but it's very nice. It's very, very tasty and delicious. So lad, let's have a little sip of the whiskey now with the end of the cigar, where the cigar is a lot heavier than it was in the beginning when we talked about it, and we'll see if the whiskey complements it even more now. Let's have a little puff and a sip.
Puff and a sip.
Oh, the whiskey was a lot better. Huh. Same rich mouthfeel, syrupy, obviously. That's the character of the whiskey. Fruitier now. On the finish, it's still the dark chocolate. That's like the only thing I got out of this whiskey in the beginning. This is a little more fruity now, a little honey, a little sweeter. I feel like the whiskey was a little sweeter. Maybe it's because the cigar is so dark now.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, you felt the same?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That sweetness that you were talking about, I couldn't like pin it down to something, what exactly the sweetness was, but it probably is because of that reason, like you said, that the cigar is that dark, those dark notes, and whiskey coming in there.
It's nice. Nicer now. Maybe even a darker cigar would be better. I'm not sure. Again, I think the rest of this bottle I'm just going to have as it is. Because that's where I've enjoyed it the most.
Yeah.
Even though it's called the cigar malt, it's still a splendid whiskey. As a lot of like whiskey fans have said, obviously the whiskey world isn't all cigar smokers, so there's a lot of whiskey drinkers that just love this whiskey as it is. But it was great to try it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the flavors by themselves, very great. Together, I think it's like a nice pairing, but like you said, the flavors are more outstanding by themselves. But I still enjoyed this pairing, I'd say.
Yeah, this is one of the nicer whiskey and cigar pairings I've had. again, I'm not extremely convinced that whiskey and Scotch is the best. I think bourbon is better for some reason with cigars. Scotch alone, in my opinion, has bourbon beat in terms of complexity. In general, right? I'm very much generalizing now, but for some reason I really do enjoy bourbon with cigars. I don't know why that is, but still very nice nonetheless. And another thanks to you, lad, for this bottle. Of course, I'm happy to have this. But I think, yeah, that's our breakdown of the Dalmore Cigar Malt. It's not like a magic potion. I mean, we've had similar
yeah.
similar good experiences with other whiskeys,
Yeah.
especially Islas. We did discuss. I should
Absolutely.
say that Islas have been beautiful. But yeah, that's it, guys. Thanks for checking out the video, and as always, we'll see you guys in the next one.
Cheers.
Cheers.